It is Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the Jewish calendar, and an appalling attack on a synagogue.
Some police have just confirmed the suspect in today's attack as 35-year-old Jihad al-Shami, a British citizen of Syrian descent.
A terrorist has been shot dead by armed police following a harrowing attack on British Jews outside a synagogue in Manchester. Witnesses say they saw a car ploughing through the gates of a synagogue early in the morning. Moments later, the driver jumped out armed with a knife, killing 2 people and injuring several others before officers opened fire. The attacker was wearing what appeared to be a suicide vest, sparking fears of a wider plot and triggering Operation Plato, Britain's highest level counter-terrorism response. Bomb disposal units were deployed, the streets were sealed off, and for hours the city was paralysed, terrified it was about to relive the horror of 2017. This was no random outburst of violence, it was a deliberate targeted act of terror against Britain's Jewish community, timed to strike on Yom Kippur, the holiest day of the Jewish calendar. And there's another disturbing twist. It's unverified at this stage, but reports suggest that one of the victims may have been shot by police during the chaos. I'm Campion, former UK Special Forces, and this is Tactical Truth. Today, we break down exactly what happened in Manchester, reflect on potential failures that allowed it to happen, and what it means for the safety of Britain's Jewish community. Here's what the press had uncovered so far about the attacker, with caution because many of these are preliminary at this stage. Named as Jihad al-Shami, 35, a British citizen of Syrian descent who came to the UK as a child and obtained British citizenship in 2006. He apparently lived in the Manchester Prestwick area for years, close to the synagogue. Described as reclusive, low profile, possibly working as a tutor in English and computer programming. Importantly, he was not flagged by counter-terrorism, and there is no record of him being referred to the UK's Prevent programme. If true, it means he flew under every radar. No alerts, no formal monitoring until the attack itself.
Few minutes we've heard from Greater Manchester Police that sadly one of the deceased victims suffered gunshot wounds that they believe may have come from Greater Manchester Police armed officers discharging a weapon in what they say was in order to bring the vicious attack to an end. We'll have more on that in the coming hour.
That's obviously huge, and I think this is going to have to be debriefed completely from top to tail, and it will be over the coming weeks. But that's big news. That's huge news, There are obviously somebody who's been in the line of fire, who's behind whatever they were shooting at. Somebody's been hit by mistake, if this is true, and that's not good. And there are mitigating things you can do to prevent this happening, and they obviously haven't worked. All right, so this needs properly looking at, i.e. ammunition types, weapon usage, etc., etc., etc. But it just highlights again how little time sometimes you get to mitigate stuff and how you have to just react on what is there in front of you at the time. So to go apportioning blame or saying it was your fault, that can't happen at the moment. This got to just deal with facts and what can be done to prevent things from happening again.
The synagogue was full of worshippers on this, the holiest day in the Jewish calendar, Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. The terrorist was prevented.
I mean, anyone trying to say that this wasn't a deliberate act, it was done on their holiest day. It's obviously been pre-planned. There's no denying that it's a terrorist action, absolutely none whatsoever. So it can't be played any other way. It has to be taken for what it is, a terrorist attack.
From getting inside, but by then he'd killed 2 and injured 4 others. This is how the horror unfolded. The first emergency call was made.
I want to pay a little bit of attention to the timings here, okay? Because the timings actually are pretty impressive.
At 9:31, a man had been stabbed and a car driven towards
9:31.
People at Heaton Park Hebrew Congregation Synagogue in Crumpsall. 3 minutes later, Firearms officers.
Now, eyebrows must have been raised at this stage of the campaign somewhere to think this is possibly a terrorist action. Synagogue, death, people being stabbed, etc. It's starting to piece together from the very get-go, and people were obviously on this straight away.
Were sent to Middleton Road as police received more reports that a security...
3 minutes later, all right, 3 minutes from that call being made to firearms officers turning up. That, in a city the size of Manchester, I'm going to tell you, is impressive, all right?
Guard had been attacked with a knife. When police arrived, there was a car close to the...
Now there's stuff coming in saying, you know, people have been attacked by the knife. I would imagine by this stage this body is on the floor and a bigger picture is beginning to unfold. And people behind the scenes are now pushing it in the various locations and directions that it needs to go to get the full attention it deserves.
Front gates of the synagogue with a victim on the road. At 9:38, outside the building...
Obviously, you know, that victim... It is a victim of what's gone on straight away. So there's a picture building here.
Officers confronted the attacker.
9:38, so less than 10 minutes from somebody dialing this one in. He's being engaged and dealt with by the armed response. That is an absolutely phenomenal feat. It really is. It shows the urgency, it shows how seriously you take it, and it shows how quick things can be put into place when this stuff happens. So that's massively encouraging for me, massively encouraging, all right? Nobody sat on their hands, nobody let it slide. They were boom, 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 boom. It went from the very get-go. And then obviously you can see, you know, we're going to see here pictures of SF being deployed. That balloon would have gone up. Bang, straight away. People from all over the country, from ministers being sat in London to generals being, you know what I'm saying? It absolutely would have gone bang, 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 bang. People are sat there almost on immediate notice to move with this sort of stuff, and it really did show with the way this unfolded. And don't forget, all right, people go, well, they were too... This is in response now to anything further that might have happened. And don't forget, sometimes case history will show us that these attacks can happen boom, 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 boom. Before you know it, you're dealing with it all over the place. So absolutely, absolutely required this sort of response.
Mate, if he detonates that... Mate, I'm just jumping out of this in a minute. He's going to blow himself up. He's trying to press the button. Like, fucking shoot him!
Again, it's amazing to see Joe Public's reactions, you know. He alludes to in a minute the fact that there's a bomb here somewhere, and he's still stood there filming it. You know, what are you doing? You know, it's insane, people's responses and how they're sort of like blinkered to what could possibly happen here. Do you know what I mean? That thing goes pop, all right? That thing goes pop properly, and you're within line of sight of it. Guess what? Yeah, okay. And it never fails to amaze me how people sort of like react to this sort of stuff and how brazen they are with something real time going on in the background. Real time. No one's playing here. You know, and you'll hear him, he'll shout, oh, shoot the geezer. He does shoot the geezer. Do you know what I mean? Dead. On the spot. He's trying to press the button. And I'm still stood here. I'd have been that low, I could have got under a snake's belly with a top hat on. Do you know what I mean? I really would have done.
Fucking hell. He's got bombs on him. He's got fucking bombs attached to him.
At 1 p.m, a police cordon was put up on White House Avenue, less than half a mile from the synagogue. Witnesses say 2 men were led away in handcuffs. Police will be delving into every aspect of the killer's life. His family...
It goes, today would have been on this absolutely straight away. Do you know what I mean? From shooting him, almost less than 10 minutes later, you know, evidence is now being gathered, intelligence is now being led, have taken them straight to his address. Do you know what I mean? They're not messing about with this stuff. They really aren't.
Family, his friends, his acquaintances, and examining in minute detail any mobile phones and computers. They'll want to know everybody he's been in contact with. Did others help him plan the attack? Or was he a lone wolf? Police said later they knew the killer's identity, but they weren't ready to reveal it publicly.
There were a large number of worshippers attending the synagogue at the time of this attack. But thanks to the immediate bravery of security staff and the worshippers inside, as well as the fast response of the police, the attacker was prevented from gaining access.
The Home Secretary met some...
Fast response, it doesn't even go there, honestly. You know what I mean? Less than 10 minutes, about 7 minutes, and they've already sorted most of it out. Do you know what I mean? As far as neutralising the threat, incredible.
...of the officers involved in the response to the attack, and she had a message.
I think there's people hanging off doors. You know, it always, as much as it amazes me, people's naivety and stupidity around these events, it also amazes me how people step up to the mark, how people are prepared to get in the way and put themselves in between danger and other people to help save their lives. And there was just, you know, people trying to shut doors, people trying to get it. Just honestly, so brave, really is brave.
Message for terrorists.
To those who seek to divide us, they will fail.
As night fell, the police operation was widening beyond the city.
You got this operation now. The wheels will be well and truly in motion here. Like I say, everything will be getting pulled apart. Everything will be getting looked at, and everything now will be getting severely, you know, in real time and as quick as possible, put in place to prevent anything else from falling out from this. I think these are scenes from obviously the bomb disposal. You've got a body there, but as far as the police were concerned, it was a laced up body. It was concealing, or actually not even bothering to conceal. It was showing, you know, as if it was packed out of explosives. So, you know, obviously that has to be dealt with. You can't just be over there. You've got to start. You know, you need bomb disposal, don't you? You know, and that's got to be treated like a bomb, which effectively is, until it's cleared, what it is. And there you go, you can see the various bits of kit and equipment being used, and eventually somebody will have to go up there and give it the final thumbs up. So right, here is the statement, the official statement by Sir Stephen Watson, QPM Chief Constable, following the terrorist incident yesterday at the Heaton Park Hebrew Congregation, Middleton Road, Crumpsall. Further and urgent inquiries continue. Overnight, we have taken advice from the Home Office pathologist ahead of full post-mortem examinations scheduled for later today. The Home Office pathologist has advised that he provisionally determined that one of the deceased victims would appear to have suffered a wound consistent with a gunshot injury. It is currently believed that the suspect Jihad al-Shamin was not in possession of a firearm, and the only shots fired were from the GMP's authorised firearms officers as they worked to prevent the offender from entering a synagogue and causing further harm to our Jewish community. It follows, therefore, that subject to further forensic examination, this injury may sadly have been sustained as a tragic unforeseen consequence of the urgently required action taken by my officers to bring this vicious attack to an end. We have also been advised by medical professionals that one of the 3 victims currently receiving treatment in hospital has also suffered a gunshot wound, which is mercifully not life-threatening. It is believed that both victims were close together behind the synagogue door as worshippers acted bravely to prevent the attacker from gaining entry. Our thoughts and prayers remain with all of the families and the wider community impacted by this incident across Greater Manchester and beyond. Specialist officers are providing support and care for all those directly affected, including our brave first responders. Let's be clear about what happened in Manchester, shall we? This wasn't a lone incident. It wasn't random violence. It was a coordinated terror attack designed to inflict maximum fear and chaos. and it was aimed squarely at Britain's Jewish community. The timing was deliberate, the method was deliberate, and the message was unmistakable. And yet, once again, we're left asking the same questions. Was this attacker known to the security services? Was he on a watch list? How did he plan and launch a terror attack here in Britain without being stopped? We've heard it all before. Westminster Bridge, Finsbury Park, Manchester Arena. Every time the authorities say lessons will be learned, and every time it happens again. Our security services work relentlessly around the clock to prevent this sort of attack from happening. But as has proved time and time again, it is impossible to catch every single last little snippet of information, and some are completely out of sight and kept away until it actually goes noisy. And once it has, by then it's too late. It goes down to what Martin McGuinness once said about his terrorist operations in Northern Ireland. We've got to be lucky all the time, they've only got to be lucky once. And that's a sad reality. The truth is, the system is failing. From intelligence gathering to community policing, the response is almost always reactive, not preventative. We wait for the blood on the streets before we act. And for Britain's Jewish community, the consequences are devastating. If people can't walk to a synagogue without fearing for their lives on their holiest day of the year, then we failed in one of the most basic duties of a free society, to keep our citizens safe. And there's one more uncomfortable reality here. It's still unverified, but if one or more of the victims really was shot by police during their response, then we need transparency and answers, because fear, chaos and confusion are exactly what terrorism feeds on. And the public deserves to know the truth. This attack is a reminder that Britain is not immune to the hatred and extremism we often think of as somewhere else. It's here, it's real, and it's targeting our communities. Some discussions can't be had out in open. That's why we keep them inside our membership. Just 16p a day on Force TV Plus. Until next time, keep looking.